So good morning everyone, respected judges. Once again, I'm Revan Cristiano Cantama, and today my topic will be from consumers to creators, the responsibility of digital citizens. So, imagine this. Imagine you wake up in the morning and you reach for your phone. Within minutes, maybe you will scroll around social media, reacting, scrolling, and liking posts. In a short time there, you will not realize how much content you're consuming on that day. So, here's the important question. Are we only consuming the digital content, or are we helping to shape it? Now, the online internet, of course, has transformed the way we live and communicate. It connects billions of people all around the world and allows ideas to traverse in seconds. However, many of us only becomes consumers, basically. And like we watch, we react, maybe we scroll, and then we move on. So then, when we of course share information, sometimes it can be harm, of course. Sometimes when you spread misinformation, it can harm real people, for example. And sometimes people share their posts without even checking if it's true or not. But as a digital citizen, we, of course, if we only just consume the content, we are letting others to shape our digital world. Instead, we should strive to become digital creators. Of course, there is responsibility of being a creator. You must, of course, be careful sharing information or share about something that maybe can be expressing creativity or positivity, for example. So, we must, of course, not simply consume, of course. We must try to become responsible digital creators, as in that when we only consume content, basically, there's sometimes we have in our mind we ignore it sometimes. So here's the real question: what digital citizens do we want to be? Will we remain as passive consumers, or will we become responsible creators who uses our voice to speak, basically? Thank you, and have a good morning.
Well put by the previous contestant. Afterwards, we have our sixth speaker from 10.2, Rivka Elisma Sihombi, on how technology can improve our lives. Everyone, please give her a warm welcome.
What if I told you that the device we use to read every day is actually making us worse at it? Well, think about it. We spend hours on our phones, scrolling, texting, skimming. But how often do we actually read? This, my friends, is the reality of technology today. It is indeed a very powerful tool that can either strengthen or slowly weaken our ability to be literate. Hi everyone, I'm Rivka Sihombe from 10.2, and today I will be talking about how technology can improve or slowly harm our literacy skills. It is no secret that technology has indeed revolutionized the way we study. With instant access to audiobooks, to ebooks, and other educational platforms, reading is no longer limited by location or cost. A student struggling with vocabulary may improve through interactive apps, or perhaps a busy person may listen to audiobooks while commuting. While it may seem all sunshine and rainbow at first, it isn't always the case. You see, social media and text messages train our brains to receive information only in bite-sized pieces. Instead of analyzing complex and hard ideas, we skim, we move on, and instead of learning how to communicate properly, we will never learn from our mistakes. So now, the main question still remains, doesn't it? Does technology improve or does it harm our literacy skills? The answer is actually quite simple, my friends. It depends on you. It depends on each and every one of you. It is your choice whether you want to read deeply. And if you do, technology will surely elevate your literacy skills to new heights. But if you allow it to shorten your thinking and to limit your effort, it will just as easily hold us back. So what is it? The choice is within our grasp. So let's not just use technology. Let's use it wisely. That's all from me today. Thank you.
A great speech by Rivka. Moving on, we have the next speaker to discuss the impact of short form content on deep thinking. Let's give it up from grade 12.2, Jason Ewaldo Goanto.
Good morning, everyone. I would like to bring up a speech about the impact of short-form content on deep thinking. So, as we know, we've been on social media platforms just like TikTok, YouTube, and also Instagram. We tend to find many of these videos that are lasting for a few seconds until 2 minutes. For example, we can take like Zachy Phillips and Nas Daily. They last for a few seconds, for 1 minute, or usually videos last for a few seconds. As we teenagers, we keep on scrolling on these videos every day. It is quite exciting and very, very fun, as we found new ideas and also things that we can discover. It is likely to be very easy to be understand. And also, not only that, these videos also give entertainment. However, despite all of that positive impacts, there's always a drawbacks. These contents actually impact us so much on our deep thinking. Deep thinking usually we found so much of this deep thinking on long form contents. And not only that, but I'm gonna show you first the bad impact, the negative impact, which is these contents reduce our patience. Because we are used to seeing these videos, it becomes a habit for us to keep on scrolling, and then we consume these contents so easily and so fast until when we are trying to consume long form contents like 20 minutes videos or articles that is having very, very long pages. This will make us very, very impatient and we're not able to focus. Not only that, but the negative impacts as well that I found during my research, which is that these short form contents, they don't serve very much details as we need it. Because of deep thinking requires so many details that we need. But short form contents doesn't have
all of those, which lead us to misunderstanding due to misinformation. But despite all of those, I would like to recommend all of us to just focus on things that is being needed. Just like we should balance between watching short form content and also long form content. This will help us to become a better deep thinker, because this will guide us to become someone better in our academic. That's all from my own speech. Hopefully this will be beneficial and you all have an insight. God bless you.
Well said by Jason. Moving on, delivering a topic on another introspective question: reading habits of the digital generation, decline or transformation? Ladies and gentlemen, from grade 12.2, Tobias Rudolph Dahl.
Good morning, judges. Good morning, friends. Before we start, I want to ask you a question. Now, when was the last time you guys read? Maybe you guys were thinking, oh, the last time I read is probably the title of a YouTube video, or TikTok, or Instagram Reels. Or maybe you guys were reading your script for this competition. Now, this topic, as you can see, it's about habits of reading. Now, many adults or your parents even said, maybe, oh, young people nowadays, they don't read or they hardly read. But from the examples, we can see that we still read and that those statements are nonsense. So I guess we can say that the reading habits is not declining, it's just transforming, because we read different things, right? In the past, our parents maybe read encyclopedia, novel, and nowadays we read different things, maybe summary of ChatGPT for our maybe exam, or maybe about the subtitles of a video. But actually, the problem is that we are losing focus because of the digital devices that we use. For example, when we scroll on a TikTok, for example, what do we see? We see the image, the title. If it doesn't interest us, we just skip it. We scroll until we find something interesting. Now, this is an example of us, for example, like an adult is given baby food because it's easy to be swallowed. We are not getting heavy meal. This is very bad because it forces us to read fast, not read deep. For example, again, try to look around you, your friends, who has been listening to this presentation, the speech. Maybe some of you is bored or dozed off, sleeping. This is because we are losing focus, because the content is not interesting, but actually it is meaningful. But our brain said that, oh, it's boring, so ignore it. So what can we do? Actually, the technology isn't bad, because the technology gives us access to many books. If we want to read something, we can easily read it, because actually we don't have to read, we don't have to buy it. Because, for example, like piracy, we can just use online website now. So what can we do? We can try to read maybe the novel. Like right now, the DEAR program, it actually helps us to improve our focus again. So in conclusion, reading habits, is it declining or transforming? It is actually transforming, but we have to adapt to these changes. If not, we as the generation are absolutely cooked. Thank you.
Well put, Toby. On to the next. May this speaker strengthen us, the audience, as he orates on the power of youth voices in the digital world. The stage is yours from grade 10.2, Alvin Ken Mulyadi.
the respected judges. Before I start my speech, I would like to ask you a simple question. Have you ever went to a meeting or met up with somebody, however, you offered your opinion and thoughts, but they were rejected? You felt like you were never there, you were never appreciated. Have you ever thought if you ever lived in a world where you can share your ideas freely, where you can speak without limitations? Hello everyone, respected judges, teachers, and friends. My name is Alvin Ken Mulyadi, and today I'm going to speak about the power of youth voices in the digital world. Well, the answer to the previous question is yes, we are currently living in a world where we can express ourselves freely. The current age of the digital world has changed how we humans communicate with each other. It allows us to express ourselves freely without any restriction and how they will judge us. It doesn't affect us anymore. With just a simple smartphone or laptop or any digital device, we can just post and express ourselves, thoughts, ideas, and even perspective in the digital social media, the digital platform, and just everywhere in the digital places with just one simple click. So, in the past, we young people have been limited to express ourselves. There are limitations, we are not accepted. But now we can always boldly express everything that matters to us without any restriction on what we can and what we cannot do. However, as Uncle Ben once said, with great powers come great responsibility. This power have a very great responsibility that we need to bear. We always need to ensure that the voices that we use is always respected, careful, and does not harm other people. The digital platform is a place where we can serve, where we can express ourselves freely and become a very impactful community. However, it can also be a place that can mislead others. So, we need to be able to use it very carefully. And to conclude it up, the digital place is a very powerful offer to us and gives us the opportunity to be able to express our voice in a very powerful manner. However, it comes that we need to mind what we express. So that is it for my speech. Thank you very much, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have a confession to make. We have officially run out of adjectives. So let us simply acknowledge that that was a wonderful speech by Alvin. Now for the last participant, Kim, on a problem that I think plagues quite a few of us here regarding use of information in the age of copy-paste. Give it up for Kim, everyone!
Hello, fellow friends and teachers. Before I start my speech, I have a quick question for you. Think about how many times you have used Ctrl+C and Ctrl+V today. To be honest, I have used more than a dozen times already. In this digital age, copying and pasting become very natural as breathing. Information is everywhere and it is just one click away. But have you ever stopped to think, when you copy somebody else's work, what happened to our own? Today I want to show why your original voice matters than ever in this digital age. The problem isn't the technology, but how we use it. When we copy somebody else's work, we are not just simply saving our time, but we are taking somebody else's hard work, their research, and their creativity without giving them any credit. This is called plagiarism. And more than that, it is a loss of trust. If everybody just copied each other, then no new ideas will be born. Then we're going to live in a world of echoes and without new ideas appearing. Then, how do we use information ethically? First, always give a credit. Just a simple citation like according to, like those of them, give a respect to the creator. And second, put your own flavor on top of it. Like use the information as a foundation and build your own house on top of it. Ask yourself, what do we think about this? This is where the real value lies. To wrap it up, the phrase copy-paste age isn't a license to be lazy, but it is opportunity to be informed again. The information is a tool, not a shortcut. When you come into a shortcut keys, remember that your own idea cannot be copied by others, and use the information ethically, respect others, and show out your voice to everybody. Thank you for listening.
One last round of applause for Union and all of the participants. Congratulations, speakers, on delivering your prepared speeches.
Indeed, all of them were very insightful, and I appreciate everyone's passion. Now, let's wait for the judges to contemplate. Let's do some breaking of the ice.
Indeed. And then some of the participants and even the judges are eagerly waiting to say their response to the people's speeches. Should we ask maybe one of the people or the audience members?
I think that is a marvelous idea.
Oh, I see what you did there. Yeah.
It's a marvelous idea. Why don't we ask Macaulay? May I ask you, what word of encouragement for all of the speakers awaiting the results? A word or a phrase? Sure.
Good job. Did all the speakers get that? No? Maybe repeat it one more time. Standing up.
Gacor!
Perhaps it is also appropriate that we ask one of the teachers, but not the judges. We'll leave them for. I think we should just want to say we should. Ah, yes. Hi, Miss Vera. How was the speeches that were done by the speakers? What do you think?
Mismo kayo sa Yaman mo.
Mungkin kalau bisa kita mempertanyakan lagi, Miss, if you can ban one overused presentation phrase, Miss, if you could ban one overused presentation phrase, what would it be?
Like what I just do, the filler word. Because it's kind of make the
your speakers, keep in mind you should try to shorten your okay. And good luck, good job for all of the speakers. I understand although there were some, it was quite minimal. Yeah. Good job, guys. And for maybe we still have time to ask one more question, right? Yeah. Let us ask the judges, maybe. Who among them is the most serious? Maybe Mr. Mark can give us a good response. So, we'd like to first ask, what do you think of each of the speakers' performance in general?
I think it's quite interesting to see students that I have not heard. I've heard a few of them already in my class as well. But it's quite interesting to hear some of the students that whenever I talk to them, they're like the shy type of students. But then when they go up to the stage, they really, what do you call this? They have this quite unique insight on certain issues. And I think that's good. It means that our students are able to think for themselves and evaluate what's happening around them, and conclude whether situations is something that certain situations are something that should be changed, or they are able to reflect and see what are the potential in the future.
Cool, very cool. Thank you so much for the response, Mr. Mark.
Very insightful.
Yes, maybe I know a lot of my friends are shy to speak in front. Maybe if we give them the stage, they can perform just as well or even better than the audience than the previous contestant. What do you think?
Again, a marvelous idea.
We're looking at you. Alright. I think we've wasted their time enough already.
Sure. Can we take confirmation from the judges?
Yes. Are we ready to perform to the decision? Alright. With that, ladies and gentlemen, let's give one last round of applause for all of our wonderful and articulate contestants today. We also like to thank you, audience members, for staying with us until the very end. Okay. We'd also like to announce that the Student Council has prepared a photo booth in the canteen area. If maybe you have some characters that if maybe you see, oh, this person is cosplaying my favorite character and I want to take a photo with it. Or maybe you want to take a photo with one of the previous speakers, or maybe one of the attractive and handsome judges, you can do so in the cafeteria. And we'll also have lunch. And we also will have our lunch. Yay! And all of you are expected to be back here at 12:45. Can you repeat the time? 12:45. All right.
Now, it has truly been a pleasure, everyone. I was Oliver.
And I was Samuel. So
No.
sorry, quick correction.
12:25. 2 to 5.
We'll be back at 12:25. 12:25.
But anyway,
We were Winston and Snowball. And this has been Wise Speak.
Thank you, Sam and Oliver. Again, be back here 12:25 wearing your costume again, because we're going to have our awarding ceremonies and photo opportunity here in the picture. Okay? Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, take picture together. We have photo booth. All the boys of grade 11, you may go and then take picture. Okay, thank you, Rebecca friends.